Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Luckiest Peach podcast. I'm your host, Rachel, the Lucky Peach. I was not looking forward to recording this episode, but here we are. I had to do it anyways. We are back to normal schedule, like I mentioned before, and we are here with a monthly review of a film I don't really want to review, but there wasn't enough that released last month that was worth reviewing. There was nothing I wanted to review. So we're here. We're here reviewing House of Gucci. I wasn't really looking forward to this film. One, because it's too long. Two, because it's Ridley Scott. And Ridley Scott is a great director, but he is part of that group of like old directors who it seems like they're jealous that cinema and like the concept of blockbusters, they're jealous of the fact that those things are growing without them, which was bound to happen. I don't know, him and Spielberg, it looks like they're like, oh my god, we were the kings of blockbusters back in the day and now we're not. And like it gives me the feeling that that's why they hate Marvel, but like they're the last people to be shitting on those films. Like they contributed to that. Spielberg, for example, made one of the very first, if not the first, blockbuster with Jaws, and now he's shitting on, today's blockbusters. And the only reason I can think of for that is that he's jealous and cinema moved on without him and he's not the hot name anymore. So he's upset and he's salty. Because he has no right to be complaining about that when he helped create this, world of cinema that we have today with Marvel. But yes, Ridley Scott is no different. He also released 2 movies this year within a month of each other. This and The Last Duel, which did not perform too well. Yeah, that's what it feels like. That's my opinion, but that's what I'm gathering from it, is that they are jealous. They are no longer the hot commodities of Hollywood. They are not the big blockbuster directors anymore. Hollywood has moved on without them, and they are salty that they no longer have a stranglehold on cinema anymore. But yeah, that and also Jared Leto is in this. Need I say more? Yeah, this man is incredibly narcissistic. He is, in his way of method acting, he also is, abusive towards his co-stars. Take Suicide Squad, for example. He traumatized the fuck out of them, and he called that method acting. That's not method acting, Jared. That's abusing your co-stars. He also runs a cult. Yeah. So, yeah, we don't like Jared Leto in this household. And if you do, I don't understand why. But anyways, to get into the details, it's directed by Ridley Scott. The screenplay, it was written by Becky Johnston and Roberto Bentivegna. The story is by Becky Johnson. It is based on the book The House of Gucci, a sensational story of murder, madness, glamour, and greed by Sarah Gay Forden. I did buy the book. I want to read it eventually. Like, I am interested in this story, just not really interested in the movie, you know? Yeah. So it's a biographical crime drama film based on the book. Came out in 2001. The film follows Patrizia Reggiani and Maurizio Gucci as their romance transforms into a fight for control of the Italian fashion brand Gucci. Scott wanted to make a film about the Gucci dynasty after acquiring rights to Fortin's book in the early 2000s. The project languished for several years, with a number of directors and rumored actors being considered before Scott and Lady Gaga before Ridley Scott and Lady Gaga became officially attached in November 2019. Much of the remaining cast joined the following summer, and filming began in Italy, lasting from February through May of 2021. So yeah, they just recently filmed this, which I can see why. That's probably, it seems like the editing was rushed to get it out in time for the fall season, because that's when a lot of films that are being considered for awards release. So I can see why this film did not perform the way that I thought it would, because the editing was rushed. Anyways, yeah, so it stars Lady Gaga as Patrizio Reggiani, Adam Driver as Mauricio Gucci, Jared Leto as Paolo Gucci, Jeremy Irons as Rodolfo Gucci, Salma Hayek as Giuseppina Pina Ariema, and Al Pacino as Aldo Gucci, Jack Houston as Domenico De Sole, Reeve Carney as Tom Ford, and Camille Cotin as Paolo Franchi. There are various other people in this, but that is the primary cast. So the official wide release date was November 24th. It released for Thanksgiving in the United States. I don't know about globally. The runtime is 158 minutes. In case you're wondering, no, we do not need almost 3 hours of this. The budget was $75 million, and so far the box office has been $94.7 million, which is okay. I mean, they made a profit, but in order to pay people, that's not the biggest profit. So the plot goes, in 1978, Patrizia Reggiani is a young, attractive Italian woman working as an office manager within her father's small trucking firm. At a party, Patrizia meets Maurizio Gucci, a law student and heir to a 50% interest in the Gucci fashion house through his father Rodolfo. Patrizia aggressively pursues the awkward Maurizio, charming him into love. Rodolfo warns Maurizio that Patrizia is only after wealth and tells Maurizio that he will disinherit him if he marries Patrizia. Maurizio chooses Patrizia over his connection to Gucci, leaving the family. Patrizia and Maurizio marry, and Maurizio takes a job at the Reggiani trucking company. When Patrizia becomes pregnant, she sees her child as an avenue for familial reconciliation. She lets it slip to Maurizio's uncle Aldo that she is pregnant. Aldo is delighted by the news and takes the couple under his wing. Aldo introduces Patrizia to his unintelligent son Paolo, who aspires to be a designer within Gucci, despite his lack of talent. Thanks to Aldo, Maurizio and a terminally ill Rodolfo reconcile shortly before the latter's death. Rodolfo writes Maurizio back into his will, but fails to sign a document transferring the Gucci shares to him before he dies. Patrizia fakes Rodolfo's signature, giving Maurizio a 50% interest in Gucci. Patrizia starts to devise a plot to obtain a controlling interest in Gucci by acquiring some of Aldo and Paolo's shares. The two hold the other 50% interest. She clashes with Aldo over the firm's clandestine sale of cheap, fake Gucci products on the black market and begins to consult Giuseppina Pina, a psychic, for guidance. She manipulates Maurizio, who has little interest in Gucci, into taking a more active role within the company. Paolo acquires proof that Aldo has been evading taxes in the United States. He gives the proof to Patrizia in exchange for her promise that he will be allowed to design his own line. Aldo is arrested by the IRS and sentenced to a year and a day in prison. Patrizia lies to the Italian police and tells them that Paolo is not authorized to use the Gucci trademark. The police stop the fashion show by force. Patrizia and Maurizio ask Paolo to sell them his shares, but he rebuffs them and cuts ties between them. Italian police ransack Maurizio's house and attempt to arrest Maurizio for forging Rodolfo's signature. Maurizio and Patrizia flee to Switzerland, where Maurizio meets his old friend Paolo Franchi. After an argument between Maurizio and Patrizia, Maurizio decides that he is tired of his wife's influence on himself and the company. He orders his wife and daughter to return to Italy and begins an affair with Paola, which Pina seemingly senses. When Maurizio's business plans harm the company, he seeks assistance from equity company InvestCorp, through which he hatches a scheme to acquire the shares of the company from a now impoverished Paolo. Aldo returns from prison and immediately realizes what Paolo has done. When InvestCorp offers to buy Aldo out, he refuses until Maurizio reveals himself as the deal's instigator. Dejected, Aldo sells the shares and cuts contact with Maurizio. Patrizia attempts a reconciliation with Maurizio, but he flatly ignores her. Later, he asks Patrizia for a divorce through his longtime assistant Domenico De Sole, which Patrizia refuses. Maurizio recruits up-and-coming designer Tom Ford to revitalize the company's image through a new line. Ford's products are successful, but Maurizio has so thoroughly mismanaged the company that InvestCorp's leaders feel compelled to buy him out, replacing him with Ford and De Sole. Patrizia eventually grows so furious with Maurizio that she asks Pina to help her kill him. Pina puts Patrizia in contact with some hitmen from Sicily. A few days later, the hitmen shoot Maurizio to death in broad daylight outside his residence. Closing inner titles describe the fate of the remaining characters. Aldo dies of prostate cancer, and Paolo died in poverty shortly following the sale of their shares to Maurizio. Patrizia, Pina, and the hitmen are sentenced to long prison terms following their arrest for murder. Gucci is fully acquired by InvestCorp and successfully managed into the present. No Gucci family members remain at the company. So yeah, it's a lot, but it's historical stuff, so it's expected to be a lot. Yeah, on paper, this story sounds interesting. One, because it's biographical, and two, because it's true crime. But the way it plays out just isn't selling it. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just. It's very, very okay. I saw this a while ago, so I'm not really. I also just didn't have that many thoughts on it. Like, it was not interesting. It was very long. I do not like Jared Leto, but I will admit some of his character's antics were funny, but he wasn't good in the movie. I don't think anyone's performances really stood out to me. The thing that pissed me off the most was Al Pacino is a fantastic actor. I mean, everyone in this film were great, but Al Pacino is fantastic. He very rarely underperforms. And you can tell that his bad performance in this film is due to the directing. You can tell that he's being directed a certain way, and it's not working out. So Ridley Scott, if you ever go near Al Pacino again, I will personally kick your ass. Leave that man alone. He's a national treasure. Let him do his mob movies with Scorsese. Get him out of here. Do not work with him again. Do not work with him again, because your directing fucked him up. That is not the Al Pacino I know. Anyways, yeah. So, I'm trying to pull up my review of it to see if I did not review it. I just did. I should have reviewed it. I'm pretty sure I did. Do I have to go all the way to my diary? Yes, I do. Okay. Whatever, that's fine. Where is it? Letterboxd, where is it? Did I see it in November? I saw it on the 1st. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm using this to refresh my memory. This fell apart in the second half quick. So quick. which is just indicative of the fact that it is way too long. Like, Ridley Scott really needs to familiarize himself with the cut tool on Final Cut Pro. It would help him tremendously. Okay? The long, lengthy film, it worked for Gladiator. It really worked for Gladiator. But Ridley, please, please, that is not your style. Do not make a long form film your style. That is not a style. It is exhausting because this is a film that did not need to be 2.5 hours. Or like 240. I don't know. It did not need to be that long. It really did not. You could have cut out a lot of it. I get you were probably, oh my God. Am I anemic? Sorry. I just noticed the fleshy part under my eyelids is pale. That usually means your blood flow is not that great, or like the iron in your blood is not good. Whatever. What was I saying? Oh, cut your films down. Like, dude, no. Like, I get you were trying to show that, like, Patricia was a manipulative piece of shit, which she is. She is. From the second she met Maurizio, she threw herself in his way and basically forced him to fall in love with her. Because Rodolfo was right. She was after money. She was after the Gucci stuff. She very heavily manipulated him throughout their marriage to get more control. It was her idea to, buy out the shares. She was the one who sold out Aldo, as well as sold out Paolo. She forged Rodolfo's signature on his will. She was the one who forced the reconciliation between Maurizio and his father, which they needed, but like she forced it. She forced him to hang out with his uncle a lot. When they first got married, he was not interested in getting back with his family. He kind of accepted it. He was like, I don't really care to get involved with the Gucci stuff. I just want to be a lawyer. I want to do my thing. And she's like, no, you need to get involved. And it's like very clear she's doing it in a manipulative way, not to just have him reconcile with his family, but to get back control of Gucci. And of course, it worked and it altered him in a way that eventually that's all he was interested in. He was a money-hungry asshole. And it ruined him. It destroyed him. First of all, it started destroying the company because Gucci was failing near the time of his death, until Tom Ford came in and until they sold to Investcorp. But also it led to his death, which his death was incited by his manipulator. So they're both pieces of shit. There is no good or bad guy in this situation. They were just pieces of shit. Anyways, I did not like this movie at all. Yeah, I know this is one of those films that like people are gonna go see a lot of because it has Adam Driver and Lady Gaga in it, and they are big names now in the modern day, which is fine. They're great. I love them, but this film is not good. I mean, it's been a thing since the beginning of Hollywood, to like get people in theaters based on names, based on household names. But then you're inviting yourself to watch a lot of garbage movies. And this is one of them. And it's because of the director. So, but production notes. So in 2006, Ridley Scott was set to direct a film about the downfall of Gucci dynasty, with Andrea Berloff writing the script, despite the family's dismissal of the project. So in case you're wondering, the Gucci family still exists, but like they're not involved with the company at all. With Angelina Jolie and Leonardo DiCaprio rumored to play Patricia and Maurizio. Yeah, no, that wasn't gonna work out. In 2006, that makes sense, but like no. In February 2012, Scott's daughter, Jordan Scott, had replaced him as director and was in talks with Penelope Cruz to play Reggiani. I don't know. She was better suited for Donatella in the American Crime show. In November 2016, Wong Kar-wai took over as director from Jordan Scott, with Charles Randolph writing alongside Burloff and Margot Robbie, now considered to play Reggiani. Ugh. No. 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 In November 2019, Ridley Scott was once again set to direct the film, with Roberto Bentivegna writing the script and Lady Gaga set to star. That's better. Not with Ridley Scott, but Lady Gaga. She does look like Patrizia. According to the Gucci CEO, Marco Bizzarri, the fashion house cooperated with the production and gave them full access to their archives for wardrobe and props. We love that. In November 2019, it was announced that Gaga would play Reggiani. In April 2020, MGM acquired the rights to the film. By August, Adam Driver, Jared Leto, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Jack Houston, and Reeve Carney had entered negotiations to join the cast. Driver, Leto, Pacino, and De Niro were confirmed by October. Houston and Carney were confirmed in December, along with Jeremy Irons, while De Niro had exited the film. Darius Wolski announced his involvement as cinematographer that same month. Camille Cotin joined the cast in January 2021. In March, Madalena Diana Kenia, Mehdi Nebu, and Milud Murad Benemara were added to the cast, along with Salma Hayek, who is married to the CEO of Gucci's parent company, Francois Henri Pinault. Wow. So she was great in the film. I would give it, like, Salma was great in the film, but she really had a way in. That's funny. In August 2020, it was reported that the filming was expected to begin when Scott completed production of The Last Duel. On February 3rd, 2021, Leto said the film was still in pre-production phase and they would start shooting in Italy in the coming weeks. Principal photography began in Rome at the end of February, with COVID-19 safety precautions in place. Several scenes were filmed in early March in the cities of Gressone, Saint-Jean, and Gressone La Trinité. I apologize if I mispronounced that. I'm not Italian. Specifically in the Italian Alps and the Aosta Valley, which were used to recreate the tourist complex of St. Moritz in Switzerland. Filming also took place in other locations in the country, such as Florence, Lake Como, and Milan. At the end of March, they returned to Rome to shoot scenes at Via Condotti. Filming wrapped on May 8th. Gaga explained that she took into account how her longtime friend Tony Bennett feels about Italians being represented in films in terms of crime, and aspired to make a real person of Patrizia, not a caricature. To achieve that, she studied Reggiani's vocal cadence and attitude. She explained, "I felt the best way to honor Maurizio and Italians was for my performance to be authentic from the perspective of a woman, not an Italian-American woman, but an Italian woman." House of Gucci had its world premiere at the Odeon Lux Leicester Square in London on November 9th, 2021. It was released theatrically in North America on November 24th. And in the UK on November 26th. Following its theatrical release, it will also be available to stream on Paramount Plus. Gross. We don't like Paramount Plus. United Artists Releasing aired the first trailer for the film during the 2021 Summer Olympics. Social media accounts promoting the film on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, and a total of 415.4 million followers, including 234 million followers from the cast. Overall, the marketing campaign delivered at least 1.2 billion impressions and 407 million views online. Marketing tactics included radio, social, and ticketing partnerships, television spots, and promotions on TikTok, Twitter, and Snapchat. Crime podcasts were used to attract younger audiences. In theaters, trailers for the film ran during screenings of Respect, Dear Evan Hansen, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, No Time to Die, Halloween Kills, The Last Duel, and Eternals. By November 25th, United Artists Releasing had spent $12.8 million on television advertisements promoting the film. As of December 14th, 2021, the film has grossed $42.1 million in the United States and Canada and $52.6 million in other territories for a worldwide total of $94.7 million. Yeah. Okay. On Rotten Tomatoes, 60% of 282 reviews are positive, with an average rating of 6.1 out of 10. It doesn't have a percentage, whatever. The website's critical consensus reads, House of Gucci vacillates between inspired camp and dour drama too often to pull off a confident runway strut, but Lady Gaga's note perfect performance has a timeless style all its own. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 59 out of 100 based on 57 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of B+ on an A to F scale, while those at PostTrack gave it an 82% positive score, with 60% saying they would definitely recommend it. Deadline Hollywood noted a strong divide between critics and audiences and said, it appears moviegoers are overpowering. Screen Rant commented that although the film received mixed reviews from critics, the performances of the cast were highly praised, with particular emphasis on Lady Gaga and Jared Leto. Alyssa Wilkinson of Vox gave the film a mixed review, praising the performances but criticizing the screenplay and writing. The trailer is selling is actually a little more dishy and wild than the real House of Gucci, which would be a pointless and somewhat perfunctory dud if it weren't for the brilliance or madness of the performances. Reviewing the film for Hollywood Reporter, David Rooney wrote, Ridley Scott's film is a trash-tacular watch that I wouldn't have missed for the world, but it fails to settle on a consistent tone, overlong and undisciplined as it careens between high drama and opera buffa. I feel the same way. Richard Roper of the Chicago Sun-Times gave the film 2.5 out of 4 stars, writing Adam Driver, who has now played a French squire and an Italian fashion heir in consecutive Ridley Scott movies, and Lady Gaga have legit chemistry together, and it's still a kick to see Al Pacino roaring like a lion in winter. But Hayek and Irons are playing cardboard-thin characters. Leto flounders about as if he's in a movie all his own, and House of Gucci feels coldly calculating when it should have been flesh and warm with scandalous sensationalism. Writing for the New York Times, A.O. Scott found the film to be a missed opportunity, which could have been crafted more in line with better cinematic standards, stating that it lacks the necessary vision or inspiration. I agree with both of those reviews. I don't think the back-to-back Ridley Scott movies is a flex. It just shows that both of those were kind of rushed. But yeah, the writing lacks. Jared Leto is playing Jared Leto in a way. You know, he's doing his thing where he acts like he's the only person in the movie, and it kills the movie because he has no chemistry with his co-stars. He's just acting like he's the only one there, and it's ugly. I'm surprised he's a narcissist, so I don't know what I'm talking about. I was going to say I'm surprised he hasn't realized that, but he's a narcissist. He's never going to. Gaga's Italian accent was met with criticism by Italian actress and dialect coach Francesca De Martini, who worked on set as a dialogue coach for Hayek, and claimed that Gaga's accent is not exactly an Italian accent. It sounds more Russian. BBC have stated that Leto's performance inspired both ridicule and irritation. Film critic Mark Kermode criticized the performance, calling it parodic, and while others adopt faintly ridiculous Italian inflections, Leto delivers his lines in a string of high-pitched whoops that suggest he is attempting to communicate with whales. I mean, he's right. David Ehrlich of IndieWire has praised Leto's performance. No. He's right, though. It's too much. It's very much like a parody, but like being that it's Jared Leto, you know that he's being dead serious. And Gaga's accent does sound Russian. It really does. Yeah. So in January of this year, during an interview with Italian magazine Novella 2000, Patrizia Reggiani approved that Gaga would portray her and commented she immensely likes her, saying she's a genius. However, in March, Reggiani gave an interview to the Agenzia Nazionale Stampa Associata, where she stated she was annoyed that Gaga had not contacted her to meet her and claimed that it is not an economic question. I won't get a cent from the film. It is a question of good sense and respect. Later that month, it was confirmed that the producers did not want Gaga to meet her, and they were aware of not wanting to endorse or support the awful crime she committed, saying Gaga had watched much footage and many documentaries and read books about her life. Gaga also stated that she has no interest in colluding with Reggiani, but her heart goes out to her daughters. I do care deeply that this must be very painful for them. Patrizia Gucci, who is Paolo Gucci's daughter and Maurizio Gucci's second cousin, told the Associated Press in the name of the Gucci family they were truly disappointed by the film. Me too. They are stealing the identity of a family to make a profit, to increase the income of the Hollywood system. She added, our family has an identity, privacy. We can talk about everything, but there is a borderline that cannot be crossed. According to Gucci, the three central concerns of the family are the lack of contact with Ridley Scott, the alleged inaccuracies in the book on which the film is based, and the casting of high-profile actors to play people who were not connected to the murder. She also said that the Gucci family will decide that their next course of action will be after watching the completed film. Scott rejected her claim, saying that you have to remember that one Gucci was murdered and another went to jail for tax evasion, so you can't be talking to me about making a profit. As soon as you do that, you become part of the public domain. The tea. Tom Ford, in an article for Airmail, stated that he felt as though he had lived through a hurricane when he left the theater, saying that despite laughing on a few occasions, he found it hard for him to see the humor and camp in something that was so bloody. In real life, none of it was camp. It was all, at all times, absurd, but ultimately it was tragic. Ford praised most of the cast, though he did criticize Pacino's and Leto's performances, comparing them to Saturday Night Live performers, and adding on the latter, Leto's brilliance as an actor is literally buried under latex prosthetics. Paolo, whom I met on several occasions, was indeed eccentric and did some wacky things, but his overall demeanor was certainly not like the crazed and seemingly mentally challenged character of Leto's performance. While not directly commenting on his role in the film or Reeve Carney's portrayal of him, Ford noted that the moment of Maurizio toasting him was inaccurate, as he had already been bought out by the company before Ford became Gucci's creative director. That's a mouthful, but they're all right. They're all right. They're all right. I think because Gen Z, my generation, has gone more into camp filmmakers, whatever is trending, is obviously going to be reflected in our media. And I feel like Ridley Scott was like, oh, the kids like camp. I'm going to make it camp. And it wasn't. It wasn't. It was another Italian crime movie that was in way, way too long. Yeah, and about the prosthetics are not that good. Jared Leto looks like a Bob's Burgers character. He talks like a Bob's Burgers character too. Yeah, and I think it's important to go off of like the actual people. Like Tom Ford is absolutely right. The thing with Patrizia and Ridley, Ridley's right. They can't be talking. They can't be talking. Yeah, she's talking as if this family is holier than thou, but like someone got murdered for being greedy, but they also got murdered by their greedy, abusive wife, as well as like one of them went to prison for tax evasion. So there's a lot of dirt and a lot of drama, so they cannot be acting like their family is just like, especially when they don't even own the company anymore. So it has been nominated for awards so far, primarily for acting and costume design. I do not see this, if it does, I do not see this film getting nominated for like best picture or best editing, best director. If it does, it is pure campaigning. That means those nominated nominations were probably bought because that's where this film lacks. The nominations are primarily for Lady Gaga, of course. There's a few for Jared Leto sprinkled in, which I think him being nominated is a case of he had a lot of prosthetics on. That's usually what it is. If hair and makeup gets nominated and there's a character with a shit ton of prosthetics, that's why. So far, it is nominated for at the Detroit Film Critics Society is nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Jared Leto, Best Ensemble. In the Washington D.C. Area Film Critics Association, Lady Gaga is nominated for Best Actress. At the St. Louis Film Critics Association, Lady Gaga is nominated for Best Actress. Jared Leto is nominated for Best Supporting Actor. And Janty Yates is nominated for Best Costume Design. She also worked on Gladiator. Florida Film Critics Circle, Lady Gaga is nominated for Best Actress. Jared Leto is nominated for Best Supporting Actor. The Alliance of Women Film Journalists nominated Lady Gaga for Best Actress. At the Satellite Awards, Lady Gaga nominated for Best Actress. Jared Leto nominated for Best Supporting Actor. At the Palm Springs International Film Festival, Lady Gaga was given the Icon Award. She already won that. The Hollywood Critics Association, Lady Gaga is nominated for Best Actress. Janty Yates is nominated for Best Costume Design. And for Best Hair and Makeup, Frederic Aspiras, Gianna Carboni, Giuliano Mariano, Coran Lundstrom, and Sarah Nicoltano are nominated. At the Critics' Choice Movie Awards, Lady Gaga is nominated for Best Actress. Jared Leto is nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Janty Yates is nominated for Best Costume Design. And Best Hair and Makeup is nominated. The Golden Globes, Lady Gaga is nominated for Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama. In the New York Film Critics Circle, Lady Gaga is nominated for Best Actress. And the African American... Oh, no, she won that. She won the New York one. At the African American Film Critics Association, House of Gucci won. It didn't win anything, but it's part of their top 10 films of the year. That was a mouthful. Anyways, that's all the information about it on Wikipedia. With my thoughts thrown in, I did not like this movie. I thought it was too long. It was paced well enough that I didn't feel every minute of it, but it was still a drag. There was a lot that shouldn't have been included. Also, the fact that they just completely left out their other daughter. They only portrayed one daughter, which they do a lot in these movies. They do that a lot in biographical movies. They exclude all the other kids except one, and I'll never fucking understand that. I really will not. I don't know if they were too cheap to hire another kid or they just thought it wasn't important. But in this case, like, it is important. You should have included both of the kids because that's important. I don't understand that. Yeah, this film lacks. The only thing that stands out is Lady Gaga, and that's because you can tell how much work she put into this role. She put a lot of fucking work into this role, and it paid off. But that's the main thing that stands out. The only reason I think Jared Leto is being nominated is because he has a fuck ton of prosthetics on, and he plays like a wacky, kooky character, which isn't even a correct portrayal because the real Paolo wasn't like that. So it's not even an accurate portrayal, but whatever. It lacks. It's not good. I don't recommend it myself. But, you know, our generation is very into true crime, so if you're interested in that, go see it by all means. Yeah, Adam Driver's performance is pretty standard. Adam Driver doesn't stand out. It's not a big deal. It's standard, you know, stick up his ass business guy. So, his performance was good enough that it reminded me of somebody I used to work with who was exactly like that. So that's where it got me, but it wasn't an incredible performance. I just saw similarities between this portrayal and someone I know, or someone I used to know. Thankfully, I'm not associated with them anymore because they were emotionally abusive. Anyways, so my review on Letterboxd just says, the way this fell apart in the second half is truly astounding. If Ridley Scott goes anywhere near Al Pacino again after making this garbage, I will personally kick his ass, which is true. I gave it 2.5 out of 5 peaches. Yeah, there's not much that I really want to say about this film. It was just lackluster, not very interesting at all. Yeah. Anyways, now this review's done, I don't have to talk about this movie ever again, thankfully. Yeah, so I'll see you guys next week with the drunk commentary of Krampus. Thank you for listening. Thank you to my patrons at patreon.com/luckypeach. You can find me everywhere at Lucky Peach, LVCKY Peach. If you go to any of my social media places, you can find the link tree that will take you to my Twitter, my Instagram, my TikTok, my Letterboxd, Twitch, YouTube, the podcast itself, Patreon at patreon.com/luckypeach, and something else that I'm forgetting. I'm always forgetting something. Have not worked on the website. Don't ask me about it. I will let you know when it's ready, but for now, nothing. But stickers are coming soon for sure. I'm waiting on my samples to get here. And if the samples are good, then I will order more and we will have stickers. So look forward to that. Yeah, thank you for listening again. And next week is the drunk commentary of Krampus. And then on to January. Very exciting. I will see you guys next week. Thank you again for listening. Stay peachy.